Hey guys, welcome back to the Curly Reader. My name's Amanda, and today we're going to talk about my Reading Rush 2020 TBR. So in case you are living under a rock, or you're new to the BookTube or BookTurnet community, the Reading Rush is a readathon that takes place in the summer every year. It is run by Ariel Bissett and Raylene LeMay, I think is her last name. Ariel has a YouTube channel, Raylene used to, but I will link their YouTube channel as well as the Reading Rush YouTube channel and all of their social media down below. The Reading Rush this year takes place July 20th through the 26th. There are 7 prompts. There are typically also Instagram prompts, as well as video challenges, and those come out later. But for today, we're going to talk about the books that I'm going to be reading to fulfill the reading prompts. So like I said, there's 7 of them. You are absolutely welcome to double up on challenges and all that. I, for the purposes of the TBR, am choosing a singular book for each challenge. We'll see if I get to all of them. Last year I did. Last year I was able to read all 7 books in the week, and it was so much fun. I had a blast. I am planning on vlogging this year. I'm going back and forth on whether or not I want to do it similar to last year, where I do like half of a week, like do 2 vlogs basically, do half a week in each, or if I want to try to daily vlog. We don't really have a whole lot going on, but I'm trying to come up with things in my head that we could potentially like do to make for a fun vlogging experience. But the more I do, the less I read. So I don't know yet what we're going to be doing, but I will try to be vlogging in some regard that week. But let's talk about some books. So like I said, these are the 7 challenges. They are not in order because I wrote them down in my journal and I just wrote them down as I remembered them. So they're not in order, but that's not important. The first challenge, though, is to read a book that the cover is the color of your birthstone. So I'm an October baby, and my birthstone is Opal. On a lot of charts, there's this like pink something, and I'm like, no, that is not our birthstone. Our birthstone is Opal, and I will put a picture up right here of what Opal looks like, because when I saw this challenge, I'm like, holy cow, what am I gonna do? Because like, this is hard. However, I was so excited that on my bookshelf, I was like scouring my bookshelves, trying to think of anything that could fit this. And I found one. I'm so excited. And it was a cover buy for me. I picked it up at a thrift store, and it is a middle grade. Who's surprised? It's called Breadcrumbs by Anne Ursu, and this is what the cover looks like. So I figured that this would fit well for the Opal challenge because it has that pink and oranges and with the white. And this, I'm not 100% sure what it's about, but it sounds very like fairy tale-esque. It says, once upon a time, Hazel and Jack were best friends. They'd been best friends since they were 6, spending hot Minneapolis summers and cold Minneapolis winters together, dreaming of Hogwarts and Oz, superheroes, and baseball. Now that they were 11, it was weird for a boy and a girl to be best friends. I have a daughter who's running into that right now, and I hate it so much, but whatever. So I can relate to this. But they couldn't help it. Hazel and Jack fit in that way that you only read about in books, and they didn't fit anywhere else. And then one day, Jack just stopped talking to Hazel. While her mom tried to tell her that this sometimes happens to friends at this age, Hazel had read enough stories to know that it's never that simple. And it turns out she was right. Jack's heart had been frozen, and he was taken into the woods by a woman dressed in white to live in a palace made of ice. Now it's up to Hazel to venture into the woods after him. Doesn't that sound so fun? I'm excited. I think that sounds so fun, and I'm excited to get to it. Like I said, it was a cover buy for me. Yeah. So anyway, that's book number 1. Number 2, the challenge is to read a book that starts with the word the. For me, I'm going to be reading The Martian by Andy Weir, finally. I tried to balance out my TBR. I didn't want to do all middle grade. I definitely wanted to have some adult books on here because, I wanted it to represent my reading. And so I wanted there to be a good representation of adult books. So as I was looking for different books to fill this prompt, I kept like going to my middle grade shelf, because when it comes to readathons, I'm like, what's going to be easy to get through? This was just calling to me, though. And I have been wanting to read this book for so long. I'm pretty sure the audiobook is an Audible exclusive, which means I can't get it because I'm not going to pay for Audible. So I'm gonna read it. This is gonna be my like primary, like last year I had one book that was my physical read that I was like really honed in on. This is going to be it this year. And so I'm very, very excited. Last year was a sci-fi too. So there's that. And I loved it. Last year I read Jurassic Park. For those of you who weren't around then, I read Jurassic Park last year and loved it so much. So that is going to be my title that begins with the word the. All right, the next challenge is to read a book that is the base of a movie that you've already seen. So you're supposed to think of a movie that was based off a book, and you've already seen the movie, but you haven't read the book yet, and then read that book. And I love this challenge so much. This to me is just like, it's such a unique and fun challenge. Everybody always does read a book to movie adaptation, but nobody ever thinks like read the book that you've already seen the movie for. For me, I'm going to do a middle grade. This is going to be my easy book for the week, and I'm so excited. I'm going to be reading Charlotte's Web. I have seen this movie. I grew up on this movie, the cartoon specifically. I've never read the book, and it's going to be a super easy, fast read. I'm so excited because I've been wanting to read this for forever, and I'm finally going to do it. So Charlotte's Web is getting read. All right, the next challenge is to read the first book that you touch. I'm going to insert my clip here as to how I chose that book, so roll tape. Okay, so I have set up on the floor in a circle my 6 books that are still on my summer TBR that I have not read yet. So I'm going to turn this around and show you what they are. All right, so we have Pride and Prejudice, Rooftoppers, And Then There Were None, Artemis Fowl, The Arctic Incident, I think that's what, yeah. The Kingdom of Back, and The Martian. Okay, so I am going to close my eyes and spin around in a circle and step forward, and whatever book I hit is going to be the book that I'm going to read for this prompt. All right, so The Kingdom of Back is the book that I'm going to be reading for this challenge. Not gonna lie, very dizzy right now. I'm having a hard time holding the camera still, but we have a winner, and The Kingdom of Back it is. All right, so I ended up choosing The Kingdom of Back for that challenge. This was one that I had kind of set aside for the challenge of reading a book that starts with the word the, so I had to kind of substitute one in for that because I picked this for the touch challenge. But I'm actually going to be buddy reading this one during the week with Victoria from A Musical Bookworm. Oh my goodness, I feel so bad. I'm sorry, Victoria. I totally spaced on that. But I will link her channel down below. But we're going to be buddy reading this. This is a YA novel that is based on it's about Mozart's sister, who was also a musician and wanted to be a musician, but was told she couldn't be a musician because she was a girl. What is my hair doing? I don't know. Yikes. Oy vey. We'll just pretend that's not there. I'll be fine. All right, but anyway, so she kind of wants to be a musician, and this has some magical realism in it, I think. It's by Marie Lu. I am so excited to read this finally. I've heard good things about it, and yeah, so that is going to fill that prompt. All right, hair check. We're good. We're good. All right. The next challenge is to read a book entirely outside of your house. We live in the suburbs. We have a big yard. This is not an issue for us. The kids are constantly playing outside. I'm out watching them. I'll just sit out on the porch and read. No problem. But I did want to pick something that was a little easier to read, that I can get up and move around quickly. It's not going to be an issue. And so I decided once again to pull from my 2020 TBR, and I'm going to be finally reading The Promise to Neverland by Caillou Shirai. I think that guy. Maybe. Oh, well, yeah, you get the idea. This is a manga that I put on my 2020 TBR because I wanted to try manga this year. And I am so excited to finally be picking this up. I think this will be a pretty quick read. I am not 100% sure what this is about. It has to do with an orphanage. I know that. Liv from Liv's Library recommended it in her intro to manga video she did last year, and kind of brought it to my attention, and I bought it, and I need to read it. So I figured this would be a good time to do that. That's kind of my one graphic novel for the week. All right, next challenge is to read a book in a genre that you want to read more of. And so for this, I again pulled from my 2020 TBR. Are you seeing a theme here? I think 3 of these books are from my 2020 TBR because those need to be getting read. And I pulled a mystery because I don't really read mysteries ever. I've read like 2 middle grade mysteries maybe, but I don't think I've ever read an adult mystery like since college, maybe. I probably have, but whatever. I don't read them hardly ever, and I would like to at least try some. And so I'm going to be reading And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie, which I am so excited, and it's short, so I think it'll be perfect for a readathon. Yeah, I am so stoked because I've heard nothing but amazing things about this. I know there are some diehard Agatha Christie lovers out there, and I'm excited to finally get to this. This is just a whodunit, I think, like closed door whodunit? Is that what they're called? I don't even know. I'm talking like I know what I'm talking about. I have no idea what I'm talking about. All right, the last challenge is to read a book that is set on a continent different than the one that you live on. I live in North America, so I chose a book that is set in Africa, and that is a middle grade written in verse called The Red Pencil. This is, like I said, it's set in Africa somewhere. I don't remember where. I want to say Sudan. Yep, Sudan. So South Darfur, Africa. But it is about a refugee girl who wants to be educated. It's about education, and I think somebody gives her a red pencil, and so it's about that. But it's written in verse. There's illustrations throughout it. So I think it'll be a good kind of read for this type of thing. A readathon. I don't know. I can't talk, guys. We know this. I'm not an eloquent speaker. This is not news. But anyway, so I figured that this would be good for readathon. So this is the book that I'm going to be reading set on a different continent. That's it. So these are, let's get all of these all lined up. So yeah, I have a few, like I said, a few middle grade. I think I have 3 middle grade, 2 adult, a young adult, and a manga. Does that sound right? Is that the right number? I don't know. I kind of made that all up. There we go. These books. These are the ones that I'm going to be reading for the reading rush. I'm excited. I think I'll be able to get through all these because I'll probably do some of them on audiobook. I might do Breadcrumbs on audiobook. I'll probably do Charlotte's Web on audiobook because there's an audiobook version by Meryl Streep. And I think that would be fun. Promised Land, I will read physically. Red Pencil I may do on audiobook and follow along. Kingdom of Back I'll read physically because I'm doing a buddy read, and The Martian I'll do physically. Agatha Christie, I might do the audiobook. Would you recommend that? Have you listened to the audiobook of Then There Were None? Is it good? Let me know what you would recommend I do with that one. That one's kind of up in the air still. So anyway, those are my plans for Reading Rush 2020. If you are participating in the Reading Rush, leave the link to your TBR down below. I would love to check it out. And yeah, if you've read any of these as well, as always, love to hear your thoughts about that. And other than that, I hope that you enjoyed this, and I hope that you stick around and subscribe. And until next time, see ya!